Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ringside Wrestling Entertainment. This is Joel Perez here for your official Elimination Chamber 2018 review and results. And it was certainly quite a long night for WWE television. Here tonight we saw the two, both women and men's Elimination Chamber matches, as well as Ronda Rousey coming in and signing her contract for the Monday Night Raw roster. And I mean, overall, I'm not going to tell you it was a bad show, because it was not a bad show. It had its ups, it had its downs. We got the predictable winners for these matches. It was Alexa Bliss and it was Roman Reigns who came out on top here tonight. Pretty much everything that you expected to happen going into this pay-per-view happened. There was nothing, absolutely nothing about this pay-per-view that was unpredictable. And for that very reason, the pay-per-view, at least for me, felt a little bit flat. I mean, I wasn't frustrated. I mean, it's hard not to get frustrated seeing WWE going for Roman Reigns, but when you've been expecting it for so long, I mean, I'm not just going to let myself go and get angry for something that I knew was going to happen. It was clear, Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. That's what you're going to get going into WrestleMania 34, and that's exactly what WWE gave us. It comes across as laughable that WWE made it so Roman Reigns was the one to topple Braun Strowman after Braun Strowman literally eliminated every other man in that Elimination Chamber. That came across as just downright ridiculous. And how isn't it going to, that Braun Strowman single-handedly eliminated Finn Balor, The Miz, Seth Rollins, every man in that Elimination Chamber, but Roman Reigns magically by himself gets the job done. It was absolutely ridiculous as well. The amount of offense that Braun Strowman took, AAs, coup de grace, the curb stomps, all this stuff. He even took a shield powerbomb, went into the pod, spear after spear, and not even that. And not even that at the end of the day was enough to finish off Braun Strowman, of course, until that final spear, because nobody gets past that spear, right? WWE loves to ride on the Roman Reigns train. Absolutely ridiculous, but that's besides the point. When it comes to the Women's Elimination Chamber matchup, I was not impressed at all. I mean, we saw some decent in-ring wrestling skill, and clearly with the women you had in there, Mickie James, Sasha Banks, Alexa Bliss, Bayley, you were going to get that, but I mean, I was just not impressed. They did nothing new with the Elimination Chamber that you hadn't seen before. They didn't innovate. They didn't do anything crazy. Like, when you're looking at these matches so many years in a row, you expect something new out of each and every single one, something fresh out of each and every single one. And especially considering the fact that this Elimination Chamber is safer than Elimination Chambers have been in the past. It's feasible to see women in there. They don't have to take massive bumps on the steel like they used to. It's feasible to see them flying around off the cage, doing all this crazy stuff. And for the most part, I don't feel like WWE really took advantage of that like they should have with the women. They should have really gone the extra mile. And I feel like seeing Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose in there really had to do with that. They're awful in the ring. I'm sorry. Just seeing them in the ring, absolutely god-awful at what they do. Get them out of there, bro. Ridiculous that they were even in this matchup to begin with. I can't even buy into the idea that they were fighting for a women's championship nonetheless in the Elimination Chamber. Absolutely god-awful stuff by Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose, which made me happy when those were the first two eliminated. As soon as they got eliminated, it seemed like the matchup really picked up. When I was enjoying this matchup the most is when it was between Alexa Bliss, Bayley, and Sasha Banks. When Bayley got eliminated, things died down for me there. I said, damn, bro, I really thought Bayley should have been the winner of this matchup, and they did not decide to go that route. They had Alexa Bliss pin Bayley, and when it was between Sasha Banks and Alexa Bliss, I pretty much said, yeah, Alexa Bliss is retaining. Predictable outcome once again, and it looks like we are going to be going into Alexa Bliss versus Nia Jax at WrestleMania. I don't know why WWE right now they're playing up the fact that we're going to see Asuka versus Alexa Bliss at WrestleMania, and it seems like they completely forgot about the fact that the winner of the Royal Rumble has the right to choose which champion they want to go against at WrestleMania. It seems like everybody's drawn to the conclusion that it's Asuka versus Alexa Bliss at WrestleMania 34. And if that is the case, are you kidding me? That's just not right. I mean, the dream match that everybody wants to see supposedly is Asuka versus Charlotte. You mean to tell me that you're going to give me Asuka versus Alexa? Something we've seen on Raw already, that you've given away already, and on top of that, you're going to just completely sideline the dream match that everybody wants to see when you set it up specifically so that can happen? I mean, why did you even bring to attention the fact that you can choose from either brand? Not only, for one, if you were going to get rid of the idea anyways, and if no winner of the Royal Rumble was going to pick from another brand. So hopefully Asuka says, you know what, everybody's been picking for me. I'm tired of that. I wanted to face Charlotte, not Alexa. So hopefully they go that way. But, I mean, it comes across as kind of jumping to conclusions that WWE's saying that it's Alexa versus Asuka. I don't want to see that. I really do not want to see that, and especially considering the fact that Nia lost to Asuka here tonight, I don't see how it's going to be Nia versus Alexa. I mean, if you ask me, I don't believe that Nia Jax should have been in the position that she was in to begin with, that she gets to sideline an Elimination Chamber, that she gets to skip out on winning the Royal Rumble, and she just gets put into that position where she can be inserted into WrestleMania. That made no sense to me, and they did not decide to go with the screwy finish that everybody thought they were going to go with. Asuka just won. Asuka just won. So how you're going to sell me on the idea that Nia Jax somehow is going to insert her way into WrestleMania plans, I have no idea. At least as of right now, I have no idea. Maybe they'll decide to go for Sasha versus Alexa. Maybe they'll decide to go for a triple threat again with the women for the championship at WrestleMania, because they want to get everybody on the card. That's the key. Getting everybody on the card. Getting everybody that big WrestleMania payday. If you ask me, the way you should have done this is that Bayley should have won the Elimination Chamber on a fluke. You have Sasha turn heel on Bayley in the upcoming weeks because she lost the Royal Rumble matchup after lasting 55 minutes. She lost to Asuka on Monday Night Raw. She lost to Bayley on Monday Night Raw, and she lost the Elimination Chamber match, and it was won by her best friend. That's gotta drive you insane right there. And that would have been reason to turn Sasha heel, relive the feud that we seen between Sasha and Bayley in NXT. That makes a lot of sense, bro. That makes a hell of a lot of sense. WWE did not decide to go that route. Instead, Alexa won, and we're stuck, at least I think so, that we're stuck with Alexa at WrestleMania. And if you ask me, again, Alexa's time is done. Alexa's time as women's champion is absolutely over. Like, I don't want to see that anymore. She has not defended the title since October. I mean, I'm just absolutely over it. And I'm sure you guys certainly are over it as well. How can you still want to see her as champion, especially after that awful segment with Kurt Angle on Monday Night Raw? Holy crap. I can't stop bringing that one up in my videos because I just found that segment to be so awful. It's not even funny. Speaking of Kurt Angle, we will get to him. I was laughing my ass off at Kurt Angle here tonight. He came across as a buffoon, bro. And we'll get to that in that Ronda Rousey segment. And Triple H was in it as well, surprisingly enough. But we will get to that. But as far as what they're doing with the women, Alexa's still champion. And unless they have some impromptu women's championship matchup on Monday Night Raw on the road to WrestleMania 34 in these 6 weeks that you have left, unless they do something on there, I'm not sure. We're going into WrestleMania with Alexa Bliss as your women's champion. So it's going to be interesting to see what WWE is going to do. Maybe they'll put Sasha in that position, because I'm certainly not buying that Alexa, or Nia, I should say, is going to be the one to face Alexa. There's just nothing that Nia has done to put her in that position, and it'd come across as absolutely just not right if WWE did go with Nia Jax. So I don't know what they're going to do there. They certainly have themselves in a bit of a scuffle. I'm not sure what they're going to do, but the women's division continues to be directionless garbage. Hopefully they do put Asuka into the position against Charlotte and leave Monday Night Raw as a question mark, because right now I do not like Asuka versus Alexa. I don't like Nia versus Alexa. I don't like anything versus Alexa. If you ask me, Alexa should have lost the title here tonight. It just boggles my mind that she's still champion after tonight. Hasn't defended the title until since October. I mean, Alexa, you thought she was WWE's flavor of the month, bro. And it turns out that she's been the flavor of the year. I think her time is over. She's great. She's great on the microphone. After the matchup here tonight, she cut a nice little promo where it looked like she was going babyface. I was even questioning to myself, what the hell? What's she doing? Isn't she a heel? And then she turns it around on the crowd, gets the heel heat. You already know. She's fantastic. She's fantastic. But as far as going into WrestleMania, second year in a row, I'm over it. I think it's time for Alexa to take a little step down. Even if you wanted to have Nia versus Alexa on WrestleMania in the undercard, that would have been great as well. And you have Sasha and Bayley in the spotlight. But WWE did not decide to go that way. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And I found the Women's Elimination Chamber match to be sloppy in some parts. I mean, the women, I think they're going to get better as the years progress in that Elimination Chamber, but I don't think they utilized it to its fullest potential. As far as the Men's Elimination Chamber match goes, as far as what they did in that ring, absolutely enjoyed the hell out of it. Those men put their bodies on the line. I mean, just look at the guys you had in there. Finn Balor, John Cena, Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman, Seth Rollins. You can't go wrong with those guys. That's exactly why the 7-man gauntlet match on Raw this past week was so fantastic. That's exactly why. You cannot go wrong with those main event level athletes. Elias continues to be absolutely fantastic in his role. My God, does he generate heel heat. Realistically, when heels are great at their jobs nowadays, you're supposed to be the bad guy. And everybody cheers the bad guy. I mean, Kevin Owens gets cheered because he's so good at what he does. He's supposed to be the bad guy. Yet Elias, I don't know what's with him. I like him myself, and if I went to an arena to see Elias, I would be cheering him. But this guy, he gets booed, bro, and he loves it. He absolutely loves it because he's doing his job correctly. He's doing his job better than everybody else can. I mean, Braun Strowman, he was supposed to be a heel, got cheered by everybody. So, I mean, that's just the way it is. Elias doing absolutely fantastic in his role. He did a whole concert here tonight. We're going to go over that before the Elimination Chamber started. I wish they would have done it, that he was in his pod waiting to come out and he just started playing a song in the middle of the chamber while everybody's fighting. That would have been cool as well, but they did not decide to go that route. But what he did do, the crowd went absolutely nuts. Where were they here tonight? Las Vegas? Yeah, Las Vegas they were in. Absolutely shit on the crowd, does what he usually does, and got booed like hell for it. Great stuff by Elias. Didn't do much in the Elimination Chamber match. He came in last, of course. So he came in at a time where everybody was down, tried to get pins on them. We'll go over that more specifically. But as far as the Men's Elimination Chamber goes, thumbs up. Women's Elimination Chamber, I'm not going to tell you it was terrible, but I did not enjoy it. I did not enjoy it. So that's what I got for you right there. The Men's and Women's Elimination Chamber. That's the brief summary. We're going to go in specific what happened as far as entry order, eliminations, all that good stuff. And we'll go on a little bit of a rant as far as WWE choosing Roman Reigns to go to WrestleMania. But I mean, realistically, you can't get mad at that, bro. And realistically, it's going to bite WWE in the ass if Roman Reigns cannot go to WrestleMania because of a little bit of a story that you saw on Behind the Mic earlier this evening, which you guys should make sure to go check out. And it does have to do with Roman Reigns missing WrestleMania due to a steroid scandal. So it's going to be interesting to see what the situation is there with Roman Reigns and the steroid scandal having to do with that Rodriguez guy who's in jail, but he deals with steroids. Roman Reigns, apparently one of the people he dealt with, Roman Reigns denied those allegations, but I mean, realistically, the information, the leak is going to come out next week apparently on whether or not Roman Reigns is guilty. So could that mean it is a suspension in the works for Roman Reigns, or is Roman Reigns innocent? Roman Reigns could still be missing WrestleMania. He still might not be going against Brock Lesnar. I don't find that to be very good news because clearly he's playing a big part at WrestleMania, and that's going to shift plans OD, but that's just the interesting news that you can find on Behind the Mic, along with news on what the plans for AJ Styles are after WrestleMania 34, and so much other news on Behind the Mic, episode number 56. It went up earlier this evening. No news on the Elimination Chamber, so that very video right there, if you did not check it out and it's after the Elimination Chamber and you're saying, it's after the pay-per-view, this video is outdated, that's not the case. I made sure there was no news on the Elimination Chamber, and you can still go check that video out. Very relevant information on there. So make sure to go check out Behind the Mic episode number 56, as well as all the other content that came out this week on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. Quite a big week for content right here on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. On Thursday, you had your preview and predictions to this very pay-per-view. So if you want to see what my mindset was going into this pay-per-view, make sure to go check out the preview and predictions, as well to make sure to go check out the Raw and Smackdown reviews that went up earlier this week as well. The Raw 7-man gauntlet match go-home show to this very pay-per-view, and SmackDown Live. We're talking about how SmackDown Live in its current state is the worst show on television. That show is god-awful, and if you want to hear why, make sure to go check out the SmackDown Live review. If you want to go check out a video that I uploaded before Monday Night Raw on Monday, I guess you can say it's a little bit outdated now. It was on why Braun Strowman should win the Elimination Chamber over Roman Reigns. That video was uploaded on Monday. I would tell you that it's outdated because we already watched the Elimination Chamber, but it does bring up some valid points about WWE and the way they've treated Roman Reigns over the past 4 years, and how over Braun Strowman is with the crowd. So if you want to go check it out for those purposes alone, make sure to go check that out. There's also a little interesting clip in the first minute of that video, so make sure to go check out all that other content on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. And of course, if you enjoy what you hear right there on all those other videos as well as this one, make sure to like this video. Of course, make sure to comment, tell me what you guys thought on tonight's pay-per-view, because of course your opinion is just as important as mine. And of course, make sure to subscribe to the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel for all this content and so much more each and every single week. Because for now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go straight into the full coverage of this pay-per-view. And we start off with the Women's Elimination Chamber matchup, which did start off the show. That's something WWE got very correct here today. The match order of this pay-per-view, correct. That's something they got so wrong with the Royal Rumble just last month in January. They had the Men's Elimination Chamber in the middle of the show, and they had the Women's Elimination Chamber last. When realistically, or Elimination Chamber, the Royal Rumbles, I mean. But they should have realistically started off with the Women's Royal Rumble and ended with the Men's Royal Rumble, because what having the Men's Royal Rumble in the middle of the show did is that it absolutely demolished the crowd for matches like the Tag Team Championship matchup on Monday Night Raw. It just killed the crowd. Everybody was dead. You could hear a pin drop. Here tonight, they did not make that same mistake. They started off with the Women's Elimination Chamber, had the crowd hot in the beginning of the show for that match, and ended with the Men's Elimination Chamber and had the crowd hot for that as well. So they did very, very well with the match order. I do feel like the show went very, very long, much longer than it had to. How many matches were on the show? 5? And then one segment with Ronda Rousey and, Ronda Rousey, Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, Kurt Angle. Why the hell did the show have to go 3 hours, 3.5 hours? Ridiculous. It's the Elimination Chamber, not WrestleMania 30. Actually, I'm scared for what they're going to do for WrestleMania. That show can be as long as 7 hours. I am absolutely terrified of what they're going to do for as far as how long WrestleMania 34 goes. So let's not go there. But I feel like this pay-per-view should have kept the 3-hour time span. I feel like that's perfect for the pay-per-views. It went a little bit over that. I didn't enjoy that aspect because here I am at 12 in the morning talking about this pay-per-view. But that's besides the point because the Women's Elimination Chamber. So the way they booked this pay-per-view or this matchup, I would have personally started with Sasha and Bayley and lived that feud because that was such a great feud in NXT. You should do everything you can to reference that feud and keep it in the limelight. Something I absolutely despised about this matchup were the teams. It was Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. It was Sasha Banks and Bayley. It was Mickie James and Alexa Bliss. Even though we really never got to see that team lived out. It came across in the beginning, before all the women turned on each other, of course, but it came across as more of a War Games matchup, yes, I'm not kidding you, than it did an Elimination Chamber. Like, they're fighting for the Women's Championship. This is the biggest prize that you can fight for in your division, and they're teaming up? Are you kidding me? It's every woman for herself. That devalues the title is what that does. Ridiculous, bro. Absolutely ridiculous. These women are teaming up. That was not the case with the men's matchup. It was one-on-one right away, and that's the way it should have been. This would have came across a lot better if it wasn't Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville double-team Bayley for 5 minutes, and then Sasha Banks and Bayley double-team Sonya Deville for another 2.5 minutes. It just killed the beginning of the matchup completely. Wrong way to do that, bro. Wrong way to do that. But as far as the matchup goes, I found it decent. Ultimately, nothing too amazing. It was Mandy Rose, Sasha Banks, Sonya Deville, Bayley, and Mickie James and Alexa Bliss in this matchup, and they made it absolutely predictable that Alexa Bliss was going to win because who was the last person out in this matchup? Alexa Bliss. They started with Sonya Deville and Bayley, which I just found completely, that's not the way to do it, bro. Because realistically, you start with Sonya Deville and Bayley, you ain't going to have a very good matchup there. And it wasn't. 5 minutes of really nothingness. Then Mandy Rose came in after that. 5 more minutes of nothingness because it was just double teaming Bayley for 5 minutes. Then Sasha Banks came in, and again, this is where it resembled the War Games matchup because the partner comes in, right? So it's a 2-on-2 scenario for another 5 minutes. And when it gets interesting is when Mickie James comes in. Now, there was an elimination between this, I believe. The first person eliminated was Mandy Rose. I don't even recall how she got eliminated. This was at the very beginning of the night, but she was the first one eliminated. Good on them for doing that one. Let me see if I can find it here where Mandy Rose gets eliminated. I don't know how the hell she got eliminated. Sasha drops Deville with double knees. Sasha brings Deville back into the ring. Rose with the face buster. She doesn't make the pin. Rose got another big pin move, but it's blocked. Sasha sidesteps a running knee, hits the backstabber. Then the bank statement. Rose taps out as Bayley stops Sonya Deville from coming in. Mandy, by tap out, was eliminated. Sonya Deville was then eliminated when Mickie James came in. I remember this one because Mickie James came off the top of a pod with a Luthez press. Wow, what a move to come off the top of the pod. Not a crossbody, not a missile dropkick, but a Luthez press gets Mickie James onto Sonya Deville. She eliminates Sonya Deville 1, 2, 3. So Absolution square off the top was out of there. I don't mind that. Absolution, see you bye. You're garbage. Anyways, it left Mickie James, Sasha Banks, and Bayley in the middle of the ring, Alexa being the only one left in the pod. Mickie James was eliminated, Bayley to belly, while all three of those women were going at it. That left Mickie James, or Alexa Bliss, to come in. She tried to run like a game of cat and mouse from Sasha and Bayley. They caught up to her, but there was this great moment. I absolutely loved the way they did this. Sasha caught up to Bayley, or caught up to Alexa on the top of the pod. Bayley was climbing the cage so she can as well attack Alexa Bliss, and Sasha Banks, she's like, oh, let me help you up. Kicks her square in the face. Beautiful. Beautiful moment right there. But again, predictable, because from that moment on, that Sasha and Bayley turn against each other, you know Alexa's going to win this whole thing. So what happens from there, it's more along the lines of a triple threat instead of a 2-on-1, which clearly resulted in a better matchup. It was Sasha and Bayley attacking each other. Sasha hit Bayley with some stiff shots, bro. But in the end, for Bayley, it was Bayley who Bayley to belly off the top rope on Sasha Banks, pretty much defeating Sasha Banks in that attempt. But Alexa Bliss came out of nowhere, hits a schoolboy pin or whatever the hell it was, right? She gets a cradle pin, and she hits the 1-2-3 on Bayley. Bayley's out of there. So that leads to a nice confrontation between Sasha Banks and Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss and Sasha Banks make a good pairing, bro. Alexa tries to come off the top with a twisted Bliss, goes into the knees of Sasha Banks, and not off the top rope, I mean off the top of a pod, which looked very impressive. Goes into the knees of Sasha Banks. She tries for it on the outside. She gets a cross body on Sasha Banks on the outside. It's like a twisted cross body on the outside. Sasha Banks then tries to lock in the bank statement because she reverses the crossbody. They go inside the ring. She gets the bank statement. Alexa Bliss gets out of it, surprisingly enough. Hits Sasha Banks with some type of move. She goes to the top. Sasha tries to counter. I believe Sasha somehow gets Alexa Bliss to the bottom. I think she's trying to climb the pod or something like that. But Alexa Bliss catches her and hangs her from the top rope. Like if you go back and watch Andrade Cien Almas versus Drew McIntyre, hangs her off the top rope, draping rope DDT, and the night is over for Sasha Banks. 1, 2, 3. So it was a little bit on the edge of your seat right there as far as Alexa Bliss and Sasha Banks goes. You're like, oof, are they going to give it to Sasha Banks? They could still do the right thing here. They did not decide to do that. Unfortunate, bro. And it looks like Sasha and Bayley is going to be an undercard matchup, because the way they filmed this, I like the way they filmed it a lot. They did it very subtly, bro. They had Alexa Bliss cutting her promo, and they had a beautiful shot of Alexa Bliss in the background cutting her promo, and Sasha crying with the WrestleMania sign behind her. Sasha was crying. So I believe that tomorrow night on Raw, or the week after that, we're going to see Sasha Banks finally go heel, unleash the bitch boss that we all want to see, because Sasha Banks is absolutely goddamn terrible as a babyface. I mean, there's no other way to go about it. And then you got Alexa Bliss. She's going to go into whatever WrestleMania feud you have. Hopefully they announce that Asuka is going to face Charlotte and not Alexa Bliss. And maybe they'll start a number one contenders tournament to determine who is going to go against Alexa Bliss at WrestleMania. So hopefully they do something along those lines. It's going to be interesting to see what they do there. Maybe they have a number one contenders tournament. They put Sasha versus Bayley and Nia versus Mickie James, right? And the winner of those matches will go on to the next week in a one-on-one matchup, or maybe they'll have a triple threat. Sonya Deville, Sasha Banks and Bayley, and you'll have Nia Jax, Mandy Rose, and Mickie James, right? So you'll do that, 2 triple threat matches. The winner of those triple threat matches go on to the next week in a one-on-one matchup to determine who's going to WrestleMania. You get interesting with this, right? So Sasha Banks and Bayley. Sasha Banks gets pinned by Bayley in that triple threat match. Do that. Absolutely drive Sasha Banks crazy. Nia Jax clearly wins her triple threat with Mickie James. And whatchamacallit, Mandy Rose. I don't even want to remember her name because she's so terrible in the ring. Doesn't look half bad though, I'll give you that much. Anyways, you go on to the next week. Nia Jax versus Bayley is your matchup to determine the number one contender, and you'll have Sasha Banks turn heel this night. You'll have her screw over Bayley in this matchup against Nia Jax. Nia Jax goes on to WrestleMania as the number one contender. WWE has their little special matchup. It's Nia Jax versus Alexa Bliss at WrestleMania for the Women's Championship. Yay. WWE gets what they want, right? That's a little dream matchup for them. Then, non-title grudge match, which I guess will be even better. No, you want the title on the line, but whatever. Anyways, grudge match at WrestleMania in the undercard. You'll have Sasha Banks turn heel on Bayley, become the bitch boss, and she'll screw over Bayley going into WrestleMania 34. Whatever you want to do from there, you decide that. That sounds cool to me, and it seems like you still are going to go for Sasha and Bayley. So hopefully they go that direction, because I don't want to see Sasha left off of WrestleMania, and it is a very, very interesting matchup that I've wanted to see since they came up from NXT on the main stage. That is Sasha versus Bayley. So at least it will be at WrestleMania, and it will be non-title, which is a little bit less exciting, but at least they're going to be putting it on at WrestleMania 34. So that is what I'm saying they do. I do not like the result of the Women's Elimination Chamber, but the way they handled the aftermath, it seems like they're going to do Sasha versus Bayley anyways, and we're just going to get Alexa versus Nia, determining some number one contender. Or the way they put it, we're going to get Asuka versus Alexa, which sounds absolutely god-awful. So we'll see about that. We move on the show to the tag team title match. Titus Worldwide versus The Bar. Nobody cared about this matchup, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. I'm not going to say that the Elimination Chamber killed the matchup, because the matchup never had anything going for it to begin with. Titus Worldwide? That's a team that is now worthy to go for your tag team titles? What have they done? They beat the champions. You're kidding me, right? Why are the champions getting beaten left and right on Monday Night Raw? They only win their championship matches. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. They have no teams on Monday Night Raw, and what disgusts me is that the commentators keep bringing up what a wealthy tag team division they have. They must be brain dead or something, because to see how good WWE's tag team division on Monday Night Raw is, all you need to do is count. How many teams does WWE have on Monday Night Raw? Like 3. That's a division to you? My God, how wealthy is that? Holy crap, that's absolutely terrible. And this matchup, it was decent, sloppy in some cases, but nobody cared. Nobody cared, and that just goes to show you how wealthy the tag team division is. Your only legitimate team, realistically, is your tag team champions, The Bar. Besides that, nobody cares about anybody else. This division needs a refresh. Hopefully they do. The Revival versus The Bar at WrestleMania, or something along those lines. Have the Revival pick up the titles, bring in the Authors of Pain, bring in Sanity from NXT, and replenish this tag team division, because holy shit, we all know this tag team division needs to be replenished. My God. Let's move on here. By the way, The Bar wins. They retain, as if anybody didn't see that one coming. So there you go with that one. The Bar retains their tag team titles the same way they always do, with that finishing move that they have. I don't even know the name of it, but right now, with the way this tag team division is, I can't really say that I care. We go to Asuka versus Nia Jax, and this matchup was decent. I mean, I didn't expect anything out of it, and it wasn't anything to, like, say, oh and behold, right? It wasn't anything too crazy. It really wasn't, and I didn't expect it to be that way. It was pretty much Nia Jax beating on Asuka the entire matchup, and they played up the underdog story, because at the end of the day, Nia Jax, she got rolled up by Asuka when Nia Jax was looking for a power bomb, and Asuka won. Asuka won. Besides that, there was nothing too impressive about the matchup. Asuka won, and after the matchup, it was Nia Jax to keep her looking strong, I guess, because you can't pin Nia Jax, and it didn't go with the screwy finish that everybody expected. You can't pin Nia Jax, right? So what did they do? They had Asuka take a beating after the matchup. They had Nia Jax attack her after the matchup, throw her out of the ring, and this looked pretty good. They had Nia tackle Asuka through the barricade. So despite the loss, Nia Jax still looks dominant. I guess that's what WWE was going for there, and they're trying to keep her in that women's title picture because what they want to do is have her go against Alexa Bliss at WrestleMania. That's what's been rumored, and at this point, that is what's going to happen. At this point, that is what's going to happen. So Asuka won, but she took a beating after the matchup. I'm just hoping that WWE does not stick to this that they've been saying all night on the pay-per-view, that Asuka and Alexa Bliss is a lock. Because if they remember, at the Royal Rumble, they were making such a big deal out of the fact that the winners of the Royal Rumble can pick from either brand, either Raw or SmackDown. So hopefully WWE does not flake on that idea. Hopefully they do keep it so Asuka gets to choose like she never was able to. So hopefully they do go that way. I was watching a little bit of the Raw after show, whatever the hell they call it, Raw Talk. Is that what they call it? Raw Talk. I was watching a little bit of that. And Renee Young was asking, is that what we're going with? Is that Alexa versus Asuka? Is that the official match? I guess we're going to have to find out. So that gives me hope that Renee Young isn't talking about it like it's official. That gives me a little bit of hope that they're going to have Asuka choose Charlotte tomorrow night or whenever it might be on Monday Night Raw, because the fact that it looks like they're going to go with Alexa versus Asuka is not a really pretty thing to me. It is not a really pretty thing at all. We go to Bray Wyatt versus Matt Hardy, and this was a decent matchup. I'm not going to complain. They did Matt Hardy right here tonight. They had a great promo package. Whenever WWE whenever it's up to them to assemble the promo packages, they do absolutely fantastic. If only WWE television was presented to us like these promo packages, WWE television would be absolutely fantastic. You can have the most shitty storyline of all time, and these promo packages will make it seem like a goddamn 5-star nominated Oscar movie, bro. That's how it will make it seem, these promo packages. But Bray Wyatt versus Matt Hardy, I love the way this matchup started. They had Matt Hardy singing, "You'll fade away and classify yourself as obsolete," and the crowd would say, "obsolete." I loved it. I was waiting for them to bring that part of the Broken Universe in, that little song right there. That was always one of my favorite things to chant along with and sing along to when they were doing the Broken Universe in TNA. And I love the fact that they introduced that to us here tonight on the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. Hopefully he does keep doing that on Monday Night Raw. Hopefully we can expand this universe on WWE television. It looks like they're going to keep going with Bray Wyatt versus Matt Hardy. It was a pretty solid win for Matt Hardy here tonight. Decent matchup, nothing too over the top crazy. The crowd was into it. They chanted delete when Matt Hardy did the delete. It was over here tonight, so at least there's that. But as far as WWE and the way they present this gimmick on Monday Night Raw goes, they're not presenting it as anything remarkable. I think that WWE should be putting the amount of effort into this gimmick that they put into Braun Strowman. And I'm not saying that they have to have Matt Hardy coming in and being the most dominant person ever in the ring. But clearly when it came to building up Braun Strowman, WWE put effort into this guy. They gave this guy time. They made him look like something special on Monday Night Raw. They'd have him do all this crazy crap. That's what they need to do with Matt Hardy. Not to the same extent, because it's a completely different gimmick. I hope you guys understand that and that I'm stressing that, bro. But what I think they should do with Matt Hardy is have him in these amazing segments each and every single week where he's doing something completely different than everybody else. That's how that will get over. WWE doesn't really seem to be doing that, and I'm very disappointed by that fact. Hopefully they do go on and do the right thing and they make Matt Hardy this special entity, but right now, especially in this feud with Bray Wyatt, he's really not anything too special. And at least he got a win here tonight, but that hasn't been the case many weeks on Monday Night Raw. He lost his Elimination Chamber qualifying match. At Raw 25, he took an abrupt loss. So hopefully they take this win and build a string of momentum going into WrestleMania, whether he does go into a final deletion type match with Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania, or he goes on to do something completely different. If Jeff Hardy is returning to do something in the tag team division, hopefully they do something big with the broken/woken universe, because this is special. This is something WWE can capitalize on, and I hope they realize that, bro. I really, really do hope they realize that. But as far as the matchup goes, like I said, decent. Matt Hardy won this matchup with the twist of fate, and it was over from there. One thing I always despise about Bray Wyatt matchups is how long he takes to go for the Sister Abigail. I mean, how nice would it look if he just went for that Sister Abigail, quick reversal by Matt Hardy, and a quick little exchange right there. But no, he waits like a whole 20 seconds before he even tries to engage the move. Like, what opponent isn't going to get out of that, bro? Ridiculous how he does that. But Matt Hardy does come out victorious here tonight, and it was glorious. But that's besides the point. We go to the segment with Ronda Rousey here tonight on the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. And this segment was totally cringe, bro. Holy crap. Ronda Rousey, not good at all on the microphone. Might I just say that? She's absolutely terrible on the microphone. That's why I was proposing that they put Paul Heyman in this position as Ronda Rousey's mouthpiece. They could still do that. I feel like they're not doing it for this feud just because of the fact that they're not doing it for this feud because of the fact that they want to make it so Ronda Rousey can like be officially introduced to the women's division after WrestleMania. She's really going into this feud with Stephanie McMahon and Triple H. She doesn't quite need Paul Heyman to get involved in that, and Paul Heyman is going to be quite busy anyways, dealing with the things that Brock Lesnar is going to be doing going into WrestleMania 34. Paul Heyman might not have a client at all after WrestleMania 34, because that could be Brock Lesnar's final matchup in the WWE at WrestleMania 34 for quite some time. We don't know if he's going to re-sign or not. I'd like to believe that he will, but we don't know that. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do there. I definitely think Ronda Rousey needs Paul Heyman. After the little we've seen of her speak here tonight, she needs it, bro. But that was not the worst part of this segment as far as on the microphone goes, bro. On the microphone, it's always Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle's just absolutely goddamn terrible on that microphone. So overly scripted, bro. The first thing he had to say here was, after he gave the little introduction to Stephanie McMahon and Triple H, of course, the first thing he had to say here was, Ronda, I just hope you know that at WrestleMania 21, and then he was like, I mean, at WrestleMania 31, what you did to Stephanie McMahon and Triple H, they did not forget it, and that's why they want you to sign. Like, first of all, you made Kurt Angle in this segment look like an absolute dummy, because the way you had this, first of all, so ingenuine, so robotic, so cringy, bro. You had Ronda Rousey about to sign the contract, looks and tilts her head at a little conversation that Triple H and Kurt Angle are having. And she's like, you need to say anything, Kurt? And Kurt Angle just, like a big buffoon, says, well, Stephanie McMahon and Triple H don't like you. Like, and he just starts saying it, and the way Triple H came across, it just came across as so corny, bro. And he was like, Kurt Angle's had the flu. Let me just take him to the... Like, none of that was funny, bro. If WWE was trying to come across as funny there, I did not laugh, and I don't think anybody else was laughing. It came across as corny and pathetic. Ridiculous is the best word for that anyways, bro. Anyways, the segment did go down. Kurt Angle started talking trash about how Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, they have animosity towards Ronda Rousey for what happened at WrestleMania 31, not 21, Kurt. I don't even think... Kurt was still wrestling full-time for the WWE by WrestleMania 21. Fantastic matchup with Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 21. My God. Anyways, what was I don't even know where I am anymore. Kurt Angle, he certainly didn't know where he was tonight, but I don't even know where I am. That's besides the point, though, because the segment did go as follows. It was Kurt Angle, he started telling Ronda Rousey that Stephanie McMahon and Triple H, they're still mad at her for WrestleMania 31. Stephanie McMahon and Triple H, they start saying, oh, that's not true, that's not true. Kurt Angle gets walked to the back by Triple H, and Stephanie McMahon, she says one of the things that Kurt Angle said was true, and that's that we've been looking at you for years since WrestleMania 31, and that you impressed us and showed us how tough and ruthless you are during that segment. Clearly a wad of bullshit right there from Stephanie McMahon. Ronda didn't buy it. She waited till Triple H got back in the ring, put him through a table. Looked pretty good the way she put him through a table, but I mean, she really didn't have to exert any force at all. Triple H just jumped up and went through the table. She really didn't have to do anything. It was like a back suplex of sorts. And then Stephanie McMahon slapped her. Surprisingly, Ronda Rousey, being this killer, right, didn't do anything about it. Just gave Stephanie McMahon a mean-ass stare, right? Surprisingly, Ronda didn't point at the sign either. That was so shocking to me. I was waiting for her to point at that sign with that big smile on her face, right? No, she didn't do any of that. She signs the contract, and I guess this segment ended in an emphatic way. Ridiculous segment by all intents and purposes. So far, Ronda Rousey on WWE television, thumbs down. Holy shit. Get Paul Heyman behind this lady. Have Paul Heyman cut amazing promos for her. And have her stand there jumping around with the women's title on her shoulder. And smiling and doing absolutely nothing until she needs to. And getting the business done in the ring. Book her like Brock Lesnar. Book her like Brock Lesnar. That's all you need to do. Now, I believe that will come after WrestleMania, and we're going to get this program between Stephanie, Triple H, Ronda, and now Kurt at WrestleMania. I don't know where that leaves Seth Rollins, because the thought for Seth Rollins was that he would go into a matchup against Kurt Angle. So, I don't know what they're going to do with Seth Rollins. Don't know what they're going to do with Braun Strowman. There's a lot of pieces that are not in play at WrestleMania right now, because Seth Rollins is out of an opponent. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with all those pieces. Kurt Angle is officially in this feud. He's pretty much what caused Triple H to go through that table, because he wouldn't keep his mouth shut. Looked like a buffoon in the process, but he wouldn't keep his mouth shut. And he caused Triple H to get put through a table by Ronda Rousey. So that seems like that's going to be the mixed tag team matchup at WrestleMania. And then, of course, you got Seth Rollins, nothing to do. Braun Strowman, nothing to do. Elias, nothing to do. I believe Braun Strowman, maybe they'll put him in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and he'll win that because they want to make that big this year, because they have the Andre the Giant HBO documentary coming out, and they want to highlight that, so they want to make the Battle Royal big this year. There was rumors that Goldberg was going to come back and win it, which sounds like a clownish idea in and of itself, but that's besides the point, because for now we go into the men's Elimination Chamber. Final thing we're going to talk about here tonight: Elias versus John Cena versus Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor versus Roman Reigns versus The Miz versus Braun Strowman. God damn, is that a mouthful? But that is besides the point, because what happened in this matchup was that everybody got in their pods, and it started with three men. Those three men were The Miz. It was The Miz, who we knew was going to come out first because he lost the matchup against John Cena on Monday Night Raw, yeah. So he was out first. Then it was Finn Balor who started the matchup, and Seth Rollins. It started off with The Miz trying to team with Finn Balor and trying to team with Seth Rollins to go 2-on-1. Finn Balor and Seth Rollins decided that they were going to go 2-on-1 against The Miz. So they took out The Miz. Things happened. It was a pretty basic three-man triple threat brawl between those three guys until the fourth entrant came in. It was John Cena. Things picked up. It was some nice in-ring action right there. Then came out Roman Reigns. Again, things picked up. He got his moves in. He tangled with The Miz. He tangled with Finn Balor. He tangled with Seth Rollins. It was when Braun Strowman got in that business started to pick up. Braun Strowman was the MVP of this Elimination Chamber matchup. No doubt about it, bro. This guy went to work against everybody in this matchup. took out The Miz, 1, 2, 3 power slam, and he saw The Miz walk off, was just trying to hit everybody and eliminate everybody. That was the agenda of Braun Strowman in this matchup, to eliminate everybody in the matchup. Before you knew it, Elias was ready to come out into the matchup, bro. Elias did not want to come out. He did the same thing that Alexa Bliss did earlier in the night. She was 2-on-1 against Sasha and Bayley. He had to go face-to-face with Braun Strowman, so he was trying to shut his door. He wasn't trying to come out, and that actually paid dividends for Elias, because he came out and he tried to pin everybody when everybody was down at one point in the matchup. But one thing that Braun Strowman did in this matchup, which was absolutely beautiful, bro. The Miz, he was trying to go one-on-one with The Miz. Miz kept running from him. This was in the initial outburst of him coming out of the pod. He just took out everybody who stood in front of him. The Miz was left standing. Miz tried to climb the cage. They ended up on top of a pod, and I just found it absolutely hilarious how dirty the glass window on top of that pod was. Braun Strowman smashed Miz's head into that pod so many goddamn times. It was a dirty-ass window. Clean your damn windows, WWE. Anyways, everybody was conveniently lined up in the bottom on the ring, and The Miz was thrown off the top of a pod on to John Cena, Finn Balor, Roman Reigns, and whoever the hell it was, which took out pretty much everybody who was left standing. So Braun Strowman was looking like a monster at that point as well. The Miz was eliminated shortly after. Power slam to The Miz, 1, 2, 3. He's the first guy eliminated. Second guy eliminated was Elias. He also took a power slam. See ya, bye. He really didn't have to do anything. His job was putting on that concert and getting absolutely massive heel heat. Miz had no business being anywhere near any of the guys who were left in this matchup. This came down to one of the most exciting parts of the matchup, because Braun Strowman was in Finisher City, bro. He took God knows how many goddamn moves. He was looking at Elias, waiting for Elias to come out of the pod, and there was Finn Balor, there was John Cena, there was Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins ready to kick his ass. They multi-teamed him. 1, 2, 3, 4. All of them hitting him with their fists. They Roman Reigns signaled for the Shield powerbomb, so Rollins and Balor set him up, and John Cena and Reigns lifted him up for the powerbomb. Multi-powerbomb. 4 men were on top of Braun Strowman trying to pin him. He kicks out. Strowman gets up very, very quickly, goes into the hands of John Cena, takes an AA, kicks out, takes a spear, kicks out, takes a curb stomp, followed by a coup de grace, kicks out. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. I was shocked. At this point, he rolled to the outside. Everybody was just completely shocked that this guy was even still in the matchup. Absolutely ridiculous at that. There was a point in the matchup where Finn Balor just went on a goddamn tangent, killed everybody in the matchup, drop kicks, coup de grace, sling blades all around. Just absolutely amazing performances by everybody in the matchup. Seth Rollins looked fantastic again in this matchup. Before you knew it, it was John Cena who was trying to go one-on-one with Braun Strowman. He took a power slam, and I love the story they told with John Cena, that he's trying to get to WrestleMania. He doesn't have an avenue to get there. And clearly the avenue that he does have to get there is The Undertaker. It's going to be John Cena versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania, and we're going to see that develop on Monday Night Raw one of these days. Maybe it will be next night. Tomorrow night on Monday Night Raw is looking like a big one. It really, really is. But the avenue for John Cena to get to the elimination, or to get to WrestleMania, was the Elimination Chamber, and he lost. So he walked out in defeat again. He lost the gauntlet match to Seth Rollins last night on Raw. He lost the Royal Rumble. He's just been taking L after L after L, and the story they're playing up is that he's distracted by everything he's doing in Hollywood, and that he's not putting his 100% into the WWE matches, and that continues to be shown. So John Cena took the power slam. That left, 4 guys? It was Finn Balor, it was Roman Reigns, it was Seth Rollins, and it was Braun Strowman. That led to the big onslaught by Finn Balor that I was talking about before, but eventually he too went into a power slam from Braun Strowman. 1, 2, 3. See ya, bye, Finn Balor. That left Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns against Braun Strowman. They, of course, tried to double team him, being the two members of the Shield, but eventually Seth Rollins made a stupid mistake and he went for Roman Reigns. That was a cool little segment right there. It was Seth Rollins trying to take out Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns, I believe Rollins hit the curve stomp for a near fall. Clearly Roman, being the god that he is, kicked out. I think Reigns hit a spear on Rollins, so Rollins kicked out. So that was pretty cool. But before you knew it, Braun Strowman was back in the matchup. Power slam to Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is 1, 2, 3 out of there. Again, another impressive performance for Seth Rollins. Keep that in mind. He came to third before Braun Strowman. So at this point, Braun Strowman has eliminated 5 men in the Elimination Chamber. Absolutely adore how WWE made him look amazing, bro. And they really did make him look amazing, because after this, he went after Roman Reigns. He went into a pod, bro. He gets up and he scrambles up. He takes Superman punches from Reigns, and Reigns wasn't hitting too many Superman punches before this, but of course he had to start. Superman punch, Superman punch, Superman punch, Superman punch city, bro. And he takes spear, kicks out. It takes like 2 more spears before Roman Reigns finally puts down Braun Strowman. Strowman was made to look like a god. Does it take a little bit of momentum away from him still? The fact that he did take that loss? Yeah. But, I mean, with all the shit he took and with all the shit he did, Strowman was made to look like a god. And even after the matchup, bro, Strowman still got up, attacked Reigns, because WWE clearly wanted to end the pay-per-view on a pop. I feel like that's the only reason they did this. They wanted to end the pay-per-view on a good note, because clearly with Roman Reigns beating Braun Strowman, who was super over, by the way, doing this, with Roman Reigns pinning Braun Strowman, and I didn't like it either. I was brought down by that, but I mean, of course, that's what WWE was going to do. But with Braun Strowman doing that, they clearly wanted to end the night on a pop. He hit Roman Reigns with the power slam, threw him through a pod. Absolutely beautiful way to end the night, because it was Roman Reigns laying destroyed inside the pod with the WrestleMania logo being shown in the shot. So I love the way they ended it right there. It was a decent night for WWE. I'm not going to trash on it too much. They did what you expected them to do. They went in predictable. I don't like that they went in predictable, because there was a better way to do things, but I mean, what are you going to do to stop WWE from going that way? They made Braun Strowman look absolutely amazing, and hopefully what they have him do going into WrestleMania, with the way he's been looking over these past couple weeks, hopefully what they have him doing going into WrestleMania is just as amazing, because the showing he had tonight in the Elimination Chamber, phenomenal. The showing that he had on Monday Night Raw, or the way he's been booked on Monday Night Raw with those segments with Elias that are just so entertaining. Strowman is looking great. Reigns going into WrestleMania, what can I say? Absolutely generic, boring, garbage. What I expected, bro. We've been saying that it was going to be Braun Strowman, or Brock Lesnar, I should say, against Roman Reigns since WrestleMania 33. WWE has not strayed from that course, and I'm not happy about it, but that's the way they want to go about it, and I'm just not going to be happy while we're sitting through that matchup during WrestleMania 34, but at least we have AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura to sit back on, I hope, and the rest of WrestleMania 34 ain't looking too shabby, if you ask me. So for now, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be all. That is going to be your review to the Elimination Chamber 2018. Like I said before, if you enjoyed each and every single thing that you heard here, make sure to like, make sure to comment, make sure to subscribe, make sure to do all that great stuff, because for now, this is going to be Joel Perez of Ringside Wrestling Entertainment, and I am out of here. Thank you very, very much for watching this video. I'll see you next time right here on Ringside Wrestling.